This is just so that if there's anything you want to catch up on, you'll be able to catch up, and if anyone misses the session, then there'll be a chance to watch it back. We will be collecting data, which I've already asked. I think there's a couple more people that have just popped in now. If you are able to pop your name, student email address and your course, that'll be really handy into the box, and that just allows for Metis to get in touch with you after the session to chat a little bit more about your sort of plans and things like that. Questions, you can just pop them in the chat box as we go along, and I can ask Maya if we get a chance, or if not, we'll have questions at the end, and I'll be asking some questions to you guys as we go on through the chat, just to kind of get a feel for where you guys are up to in your careers search and things like that. So I don't know if you want to get going. So Maya's from Metis Skills and Careers. He does a fantastic training program for students who are looking to go into IT and kind of bridge that gap between where you're at now and where you'd like to be. So if you want to go for it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tasha. I made sure I say your name correctly, not Sasha. I do apologise for that again. But yeah, hi everyone. So my name is Mayur Patel, and I'm the founder of Metis Skills and Careers. And I founded this company based on the fact that when I was younger, which I wish I was, you know, I had an IT degree, and it took me about a year to find a job. And it's like, wow, I have an IT degree, yet it took me a year to find a job, to get interviews and things like that. But it's just like, it was a struggle. And I'm thinking, why was that a struggle? And the reason is actually there's a knowledge gap. There's a knowledge gap between education and employment. So you learn everything you need to learn in your degree, but there's still more things we actually need to know until we actually land an IT role. So Metis Skills and Careers, what we try and do is help students and graduates, whether you come from an IT background or not, actually land your first IT role. So yeah, if I share my screen, and I'll just go through a presentation. I'm guessing you can see the slide.
Yeah, cool. It's all good.
Awesome. So yeah, pretty much, how can you break into the IT job market? So the objectives of this talk is why I recommend a career in IT. So yeah, if you didn't think of going for an IT career, I will provide the reasons why it could be a possibility for you if you're open to the idea. Why people are struggling to get jobs, and this isn't just related to IT, this could be any job, to be fair. So I'll kind of explain the reasons why students, graduates may actually be struggling to land their first role. How Metis Skills and Careers will help you land your first IT role. And finally, we've got some voluntary roles as well at Metis Skills and Careers. So yeah, first of all, the reasons to work in IT. Why do I recommend you should work in IT? So first of all, there's a growing availability of tech roles. We live in the digital era. There's always tech. It's always growing. So there's always going to be tech roles. We're not really going to run out of tech roles. So in terms of opportunities, there's going to be plenty. And in terms of what you're actually going to work with, there's so much advanced technology. So from my experience, so I've worked for many companies. I've worked for Jet2, Hermes, Sky. And I can give a good example of like Hermes, for example. I was tasked to work with the innovation team, and my role as a tester was, okay, we want the Hermes Amazon Skills app. You know, can you test it basically? So I had the opportunity to do that. So if anyone does use the Hermes Skills app, I was the tester for that. If it's broken, obviously don't let me know. I was also involved in the initial Hermes mobile app as well. So Hermes didn't have a mobile app till pretty much from last year. So I was involved in that as well. So there's always advancing technology. I do know, I think I read a news story a couple of weeks ago. I think I think it was Ring. They're doing like a flying camera. You know, you hear about drones delivering parcels. So, you know, we're always looking at ways of advancing our technology. Developing the skills is a big one. So I did even though I did an IT degree, I don't class myself as the most technical person, but the skills I've developed since I've actually worked in IT, you know, I can code in 4 or 5 different languages. I can do some DevOps stuff. I can do automation testing, manual testing. There's a lot of skills that you actually learn in IT. So, you know, it's never boring. You're always learning, which is great. My favorite one is the fourth one, actually, build friendships. I've got plenty of friends from my time at Jet2, my time at Hermes, even the fact that, you know, Metis Skills and Careers is founded by myself and a few of my IT colleagues. So, you know, we're all friends and, you know, we're all here to help everyone. But that's a great thing, building those friendships. Not only do we, you know, we do our work, but, you know, there's always socializing as well. You know, if you like to socialize, you can have, like, you know, lunchtime board games, after work board games or video games, go for meals, have drinks. So, you know, it's, but there's also a social aspect to it as well. It's not just always work, work, work. Motivation, that ties in with a lot of things. You know, when you're developing your skills, working with different technology, building friendships, having fun, it's just a natural motivator. It pays well. Flexible working, which is a big one. So, you know, it's not like you have to be here before 9 o'clock and finish at this time. You know, if you want to start early or later, it's fine. So, you know, if you have kids, for example, if you want to do your school one first and then come to work, that's fine. If you want to start early so you can finish early, you know, maybe you've got, you know, I don't know, you want to watch a Bake Off or something. So, you know, at least you can set up your flexible working time. So, you know, come in when you want, finish when you want, basically. And the big one, job security. This is a massive one, especially during COVID-19. IT hasn't really been affected, and the reason is remote working. We can work from home. So, you know, you hear other sectors having issues at the moment because they have to be on site. We don't actually have to be on site. Work from home, continue doing our jobs, and this is why you have, you know, less redundancies, less issues, basically, because of remote working. So, yeah, they're, to me, the major reasons why you should work in IT. There's probably many more reasons, but it's only a 40-minute talk, so I can't really go through everything. But yeah, they're my major reasons for why you should consider IT as a career. And then something I wanted to showcase is major companies that need IT. And it's pretty much every company needs IT. All the companies I've listed here are actually based in Leeds, or around Leeds. So, you know, like I said, Hermes, parcel company, Leeds Becker University, they'll need people who can, you know, do some IT. Burberry, clothing, Sky betting company. You know, there's so many companies that need IT. So that's why I said there's always that growing availability of tech roles, because every company needs IT. So I'm stating the obvious here. We all know we're living through hard times at the moment, and it's especially difficult for students and graduates at the moment because you're thinking, okay, these job cuts, how am I going to get a job and all that? Now, yes, it's harder. I'm not going to say it's not. Of course, it's harder. It's harder for you than it was for me. But the thing you need to focus on is control what you can control. So to me, the major one out of all these headings is the top left one. I've applied for more than 100 jobs. Now, what it doesn't really showcase is, okay, why has that person not been accepted to any of those jobs? So you got to look at, well, is their application good enough to start off with? If you have a bad application, you just start throwing it around. It doesn't matter if you apply to 100, 200, 300 jobs, you're just not going to get accepted. You know, you're relying on luck, you know, don't rely on luck, actually control your own destiny. So yeah, you know, as I mentioned, you actually control your own destiny more than you think. So think to yourself, when you have a CV, you know, is it the best CV it can be? And I've got a good example later on kind of showcasing what I mean by that. Have you noted down all the skills you need for that role? You know, have you really got the best out of it? You know, it's one thing just saying, oh, I've got this skill, like bullet points it. It's another thing to actually sort of further enhance it. So an example I gave is, like, you know, if you're going for, you know, if you want to be a musician, if you just note down, I play keyboard and play guitar, well, that doesn't really give enough information. But if you then suddenly provide a demo tape, provide techniques you've learned, you know, different techniques for playing a guitar, different techniques for playing the keyboard, you know, suddenly that enhances your application. Because if you're just going to bullet point it, you know, it's nothing different to what someone else is going to provide. So try and note down your skills and really be as descriptive as you can. having knowledge gaps you need to refer to. And again, I'll have a very good example with the CV I've got coming up to show you what I mean by that. So people applying to roles think I'm not getting a job, but they probably don't realize, oh, I didn't know that I need this, I need that, I need that. And we're here to help fill those knowledge gaps. And is your CV relevant to your role? So usually when I apply for roles now, I actually have 2 free CVs. So they're slightly different depending on what I'm going for. If I'm going for an automation testing role, that's a more technical role. So I talk more about coding. If I was going for a senior tester role, that might need a bit more leadership. So, have a little bit different variants of your CVs as well to give you the best chance. And when I say make sure it's relevant, don't list things which are not required. Example, you'll see with the next CV coming up. If it's a software developer, do I mind? Do I, as a hiring manager, do I actually care? Sorry, if you can speak German and Dutch, it's probably not really important. So keep it really relevant to your role. As I mentioned, don't bulk send a bad CV. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how many companies you're going to send to, you're not going to get acceptance. If you bulk send the right CV, then you'll get the opportunities. And then the other thing to remember as well is you're competing for graduate and junior roles. So it's an even playing field. There might be some people that will have volunteer experience or maybe some previous work experience, but then our certification will help bridge that anyway. The point I'm trying to make here is that, it's not like you're up against myself. You're not, my roles are going to be senior. If I'm going to drop down, it's mid-level, but you're not going to see anyone drop from mid to junior. You're not going to see that. So you're actually competing with each other when it comes to the graduate and junior roles. So here's an example of a CV I was referring to. So this person, he doesn't come from an IT background, but he wants to be a software developer. So this is just like the first half of the first page of his CV. And the thing is with a CV, you've got probably 10 seconds to gauge the interest of the hiring manager. So I looked at that and straight away I've noticed, okay, all I've got from the CV that's relevant to the role, you bullet pointed some coding languages. That is it. There's nothing else that I can actually look at to say, yeah, that's going to be better than other people. The first thing is, first of all, he's missing other areas which software developer look into. It's not just coding. Do you know continuous integration? Do you know agile? Do you know pipelines, Jenkins, things like that? Don't worry, when I talk about testing and IT support, that's okay. They're non-technical stuff. I'm going a bit technical because this is for a software developer role. But the point is all I see is bullet pointed coding languages, and he's not even proven his coding. He just bullet pointed them. Like anyone could actually go on Google and just search for programming languages and then just pick out, coding languages and bullet point them. You really need to prove it. His professional experience is not related to software development. So to me, try to showcase your skills and IT areas first. And I'll show you again what I mean when you include our certification and how that will help. But what I mentioned to this person was, your CV should look something like this. So this is just a draft template. I included some red text just to say other areas you could look into, resources you can use. But basically I said to him, what employers are looking for is more like this. Yes, bullet point your skills, but first of all, you're missing skills. You don't have unit testing, you don't have AWS, you don't have continuous integration. These are things employers are looking for if you're going for a software developer. So, that's the knowledge gap which I've managed to bridge for him to say, well, you need to know this, and this. You're not there yet. So you don't have to know it comprehensively. Just if you've got exposure to it and just know what it is in terms of high level, that's fine. So yeah, straight away, he's added more skills relevant to being a software developer. Second thing is, I said to him, any coding you have done, whether you've learned it through, online courses, academies, whichever, include a link to it, so a GitHub link, which is basically you just go online and put your projects online so that the hiring manager can actually look at your work. If you're just bullet pointing it, you're not proving anything. So this is actually the proof to show, yep, you can code, here's your coding projects. And then break down your skills a little bit further. So like I mentioned, don't just go and say, I bullet point unit testing. Actually mention, what is unit testing, or agile is a big one. Look at, I mentioned to Tasha before, agile is a really big one. So don't just bullet point agile development, but just kind of like break it down a little bit and say, flavors of agile like Kanban and Scrum, the key words. So if they're thinking, right, he knows Kanban, he knows Scrum because he's used it. Ceremonies, right, he knows the terminology ceremonies and he knows what ceremonies are. You're breaking down your skills a little bit further, so again, it's like, to me, it's like, right, he's definitely not just Google searched it. He's actually or she has actually tried to break it down a little bit more detail to provide me confidence to say, yes, I actually do think this person has actually learned it and understands it, and they've provided in that CV. And that first half of the CV, well, this is actually the first page, that first page of the CV, all relevant to being a software developer, that is much better and much more relevant than the one above. Because all I can see from the one above is bullet point languages. What I can see from here is you've mentioned your skills, your frameworks, your tools and technologies, your other skills. You provided me evidence of your skills, and you broke down some of your skill set as well. So that's the difference there. So, if you're applying to roles and you're not getting roles, look at your application first. Could you do more? That's basically the idea. Okay, so who is Metis Skills and Careers? So we're an accredited on-site and digital IT training provider, and we're created with the purpose of bridging the knowledge gap between education and employment. So our aim is to actually help you land your first IT role, basically. Like I said, yes, whether you come from an IT background or not, the point is we're going to give you all the knowledge of what IT employers are looking for, based on whether you're going to go for 3 key areas, which is IT graduate, a junior IT support, or a junior testing. So you're wondering why IT support and testing. So there, you don't need to be technical. If you try to be a software developer, you need to know coding, you need to know low level how a computer works and all the services, APIs and all that. You don't need that for IT support or testing. They don't even look too much in your computing skills. They look more on your sort of like your soft skills. But there is still testing and IT support knowledge you do need to know to help you beat other candidates and to help you pass the interview stage. So this foundation level IT professional certification starts right at the bottom. So, what are IT employees looking for? First of all, methodology of development lifecycle. Basically, it's ways of working in IT. How do IT teams deliver projects? So you learn that first. And as I've mentioned in my previous talk, about 50% of your questions you get in interviews is actually related around that. The other 50% is actually related to your role. So you really need to know, what is Agile, what is Waterfall, what's the difference, what's Kanban, what's Scrum, what's all the different ceremonies, things like that. So we'll teach you that in the course. And then we actually go over to the roles. So you've got lesson 2, which is IT support. And then you go through testing, manual testing and automation testing, basically. So you're actually learning 3 different IT roles you're learning, along with the ways of working in IT. So I can guarantee when you have all that knowledge, you're ready to then put it in your CV, apply for jobs, go to the interview, answer the questions, and you're ready. And that's the whole purpose of this course, that you're ready for your first IT role because you've got all that knowledge. Nothing's going to sort of shock you because everything they're going to ask is going to be covered in the course. So what would you receive? You'll receive an online HTML presentation of the course, which I'll show you in a minute. You get the PDF version. You'll get an online practice exam, and then you'll get the actual exam with a pass certificate. And to pass, it's you need 80%. So it's 40 minutes, 40 multiple choice questions, and you need 80% or more. And we currently have a pass rate of 94%. I was just saying in my last talk, it's like 89 people that have taken it at the moment. And we've got a very good pass rate because the exam is relevant to the course. So, nothing's going to surprise you. You do your revision, and when you do your exam, everything's based on that. And I'll just show you what I mean by the course itself. So here's the course. You get your slides and your text. So you can select your lessons. You get your your breakdown, basically your slide, your description, and you just go through it basically. And you just read it. There's also some practical stuff. So here is an example of dealing with some incidents. So this is an IT support sort of lesson. So it's dealing with some incidents, you're listening to some calls and trying to write down what the problem is and then find out the solutions. So yeah, we'll just go through some of the answers, and then we also provide questions and answers basically. So you can have your questions and then, give it a go and then reveal the answers. So that's basically the online course which you get. You'll also get a PDF of that online course as well. And then you get a practice exam and the actual exam. So this is the practice exam I'm showing. The actual exam, like I said, is 40 questions, 40 minutes. But this is just a practice exam, and it's just multiple choice. Just go through it. And like I said, the actual exam is the same concept. And that's basically what you're getting. So yeah, the advantages of taking the course. So minimum learning time, I recommend 6 to 8 hours you need on it, but you can take your own time. It's yours to keep. So, there's no rush if you want to do it a week later. If you need more time, take more time. You don't need to come from an IT background. It starts from the bottom, so it's for everybody. And it's perfect not replace, but if you don't have IT work experience, then this is actually the next best thing, because you gain all that knowledge. You can mention everything you've learned in your CV. You can deal with all the questions in the interview because you've got all that knowledge. It's just a quick, easy way. If you've not come from an IT background and you want to go into IT, this is a quick, efficient way to help you do that. As I mentioned, when you complete this course, you should be ready to apply for either IT graduate roles, junior or first line IT support roles, or junior software tester roles. And just to mention on that, there's different variants as well. So, there might be junior software tester role, might be junior tester role, there might be junior application support. So there's different terminologies for these roles, but basically you should be ready for them. And the sole purpose is to help you, bridge that knowledge gap between knowing what you need to actually fulfill those roles, really. And it's cheap, it's only $39.99. We made it even cheaper because it's COVID. I know with examinations, like if you go to Microsoft or something, it costs hundreds to thousands of pounds, and you need a lot of IT knowledge just to help you with that. Like I said, we start from the bottom. Our target audience is graduate students, so we're going to make it as cheap as possible. And then I'll just put some tips in here. So like I said, if you don't have any IT work experience, the next best thing is to include a certification. Like I said, it should be your first thing in your CV, put the certification, put your 5 lessons, but then within each lesson, bullet point what you've learned from each lesson. Your first page will have all that IT knowledge, basically. The hiring manager will look at that and go, right, this person knows this, 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 and this. Gives you a great chance to move ahead. And obviously, don't just take the course and not get the certificate, because, if you say you take a course, as a hiring manager, I want to see a certificate to prove that you know. If you don't include a certificate, then I will assume that you took the course but failed. So get the certificate. When you apply for the job, attach your certificate to prove that, yeah, you definitely passed the certification. And I've put something at the bottom here, voluntary role versus certification. So, they both work, but to me, certification is much more quicker, much more efficient. Voluntary role, it's a job itself, right? You're going to have to try and apply to, many voluntary roles, try and pass the interview and all that. You're better off just take the certification, get your knowledge, be ready, or be knowledge ready, I should say, and then apply for paid roles. So that's my recommendation, to go for certifications over voluntary roles. But then it's quite funny because we actually are looking for voluntary roles ourselves at Metis Skills and Careers. But for this purpose, if you're looking to go into an IT role and you don't have IT work experience, take the certification, much more efficient, and it'll help you land that role quicker. As I mentioned, got a CV review. So myself, my IT colleagues, we all come from different IT experience backgrounds. Someone like myself, I've hired candidates for Jet2, Sky, Hermes. So, I know what I'm looking for when it comes to hiring a candidate. So we'll review your CV, fill in any missing knowledge gaps you may have, view the contents, and provide you with written feedback. And we'll get that done within 7 days. And again, COVID discount, $9.99. Special offer from $19.99. I know a lot of CV services, I've seen some which, charge hundreds of pounds. I've seen some that charge like £65. Like I said, we target graduate students. It's only £10. Get the best CV you can. We'll provide you that. or help you provide that, and then you've got to, you're ready basically to apply for jobs with the best application possible. As I've mentioned, we've got voluntary roles. I know we're running out of time, so I'll just speed through it. But basically, we are looking for marketing, communication volunteer, graphic designer, video production assistant. So just send me an email on that. I know Tasha will send some details over with that. But the thing is, well, the whole purpose of this is we're not just looking to say, take our course and take our roles. I know they're IT related, but we're also helping people gain experience if they do want to go voluntary, whether that's IT or not IT. So, that's the whole point. We want to help people. I've got 5 volunteers working at the moment, trying to help get them upskilled as well in their areas. So yeah, if you fancy a volunteer role with us, we've got those 3 positions. Send me an email on that. New opportunities, we've got some which are not IT related, some which are IT related, like software development and testing. Follow us on social media and we'll update our postings on there basically. And yeah, so there's all the details. I know Tasha will send that over. Got our website. You can order our certification through our website, order the CV review for our website. There's our social media links. And the final thing is, if you ever want a conversation with me, just book a 50-minute consultation. So just send me an email, just provide me your name, email, phone number. I'll get back to you and ask you, are you okay with this day and time? And then we'll just hop onto a Zoom call or a Google Hangouts call and we'll just have a chat, or I'll just phone you and we'll have a talk about career guidance or any questions you may have. So yeah, hopefully I've left some time now for questions, but yeah, thank you very much for that, guys.
Brilliant. Thanks, Maya. Does anyone have any questions? Obviously feel free to either speak out if you want to turn your mic on, or feel free to answer in the chat and we can answer that way. Got about 5 minutes, so.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ivy.
Yep.
Hi, Ivy.
Hey, I just wanted to ask about the voluntary work. Do you have to go through the exam to be allowed to volunteer with the company, or
no,
just when?
Okay. No, just send your CV and your cover letter to my email, and I'll just review it and then let you know if they're successful or not. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
And roughly what, just as a quick off the hat kind of thing, those voluntary roles, what kind of time requirements would you be asking students to kind of volunteer?
It's very flexible. So we go based on, I don't come with an expectation that I expect you to work 20 hours. I don't, because we understand this is a voluntary role. You all have things to do, especially like studies and things like that. So we cater it for you. So if you say I can do 5 hours a week, we'll make sure the work we provide fits with the hours you want. That's how we actually do it. So it's flexible.
Jesse's got a quick question here. If you buy the course, do you need to complete it within a certain amount of time? And how long is the special offer valid for?
Cool. So the special offer is going to be probably till we get a vaccine. To be fair, it's always going to be there for a while. It's a COVID discount because money's tight. You can take it and it's there for life. There's no deadline. If you buy the course and exam bundle now, if you decide to take the exam in 6 months, you can. There's no time limit.
Yeah, so that can work around obviously whatever you've got on in your studies. So it's a great opportunity. Do we have any other questions before we go? If you do think of anything when you come away, you've got Maya's email address. I will be sending over all the links. If you are happy for us to contact you after the session, can you just make sure you have put your details in the chat? Otherwise, we haven't got that permission. So that would be really handy. And of course, I've posted all the social links to Metis in the chat as well. So if you've got any questions, I suppose, can they contact you easily on social media as well?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Perfect. Great. Shall we call it a day?
Probably do, if you want, if there's no other questions. But like I said, you got my email if you need to talk. Like I said, if you want to book a free consultation talk.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks to everyone for jumping on. I just thought I'd mention a couple of other sessions that are going on through this event. Tomorrow, there's a session about our industry-led projects, our industry-led programs. That's something that Metis have been involved in the past, in our Digital Leap one. So that talks a little bit about all the kind of industry-specific courses that we have running through the university. That's tomorrow at 2, and then today at 2. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. we've got building your CV, so a bit more generic support. And then at 4 o'clock we've got Bright Network coming on, who offer some virtual internships and kind of just a good kind of place to be involved in terms of opportunities, internships. So Mariam, I've just spotted your question. We've got less than a minute, but if you go onto My Hub events, you'll see all the events there and you'll be able to book onto those. You should have had emails about this as well, possibly. If not, with social media, My Hub, you'll be able to book onto it there. Is that all right? Cool. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.